but we are going to move back into the AFC, this time going from East to West. Well, we're going to stay in the West, but we're going to go to the AFC. We're talking about the Chargers and Mike McCoy, and after maybe this is a Ricky's being too, what's the word I'm looking for? Too
dramatic.
Reactionary.
Yeah,
too reactionary after 4 games. I couldn't help but listening to, I was watching SportsCenter on Sunday night, and I was watching Mike McCoy and his comments after the Chargers lost another close game where they had a chance to win it, and I couldn't help but think, this man is going to lose his job this season. This man should lose his job, but I just looked at him like, yep, he's going to lose his job this season. That's going to happen.
In my notes, it says, will the Chargers fire Mike McCoy? And then it says, will they? Not ruling it out. Should they? No. That's what I'm thinking is, I don't think that, I think there's a possibility of every single coach getting fired. I mean, honestly. I mean, Lovie Smith got fired after winning 10 games. Mm-hmm. Was his time running out? Yes. But I think Mike McCoy, he's kind of in that situation too, where he hasn't been a terrible coach, and he's been dealing with so many injuries. And the fact that this team's been competitive in the games they lost has really been surprising.
They should be 4-0.
But they should be 4-0.
They should be 4-0.
They should have beaten the Chiefs. They shouldn't have been able to come back. They should have beaten the Colts. They should have put them away, and Henry shouldn't have fumbled the ball. Mm-hmm. In New Orleans, I think they scored 14 unanswered to win that game. So, I mean, this team should be able to close it out. But then again, they're dealing with so many injuries. So I could see why he could be fired.
Not just the 14 unanswered. There was a pass on a 3rd and 22 on that last drive that Phillip Rivers hit. I want to say it was Inman on the right-hand side. Mm-hmm. It was right to him. It hit him right in the fucking face mask, and he didn't catch it.
Yeah.
Like, even Bucci, who was doing SportsCenter that night, is like, man, he got to catch that one.
Yeah. And the thing with the Chargers, too, is in the time that Mike McCoy's been in San Diego, he's gone from 9-7 to 9-7 to 4-12 to 1-3. I mean,
that's the thing. That's it. It's the decline that you see that might lead him to getting fired.
Last year, they were the most injured team. They were dealing with so many injuries last year, and this year really hasn't changed that. And you draft a kid in 2015 and Melvin Gordon with a 12th overall pick that you think will help your team right away, but he doesn't score a touchdown. He's constantly fumbling, and now he's turned over on the touchdown side. But then again, he still has his fumbling problems, and he hasn't been able to find the right holes in every single time. So he's still coming around here. The one thing, though, that I look at Mike McCoy is that he was 1-1 in the playoffs when he did go. I just think that in a tough AFC West, it's hard to look good when you deal with so many injuries. And that's the problem with Mike McCoy, is that he's in San Diego, where you have Phillip Rivers, whose time is running out just because of his age.
And that's going to be a huge factor into it,
yeah,
too.
And I think that Phillip Rivers is doing so much with so little. I mean, Inman is looking fantastic. I think last game, 5 of his top receivers from last year were not playing, mainly because Floyd retired. Keenan Allen's obviously out. Danny Woodhead's out.
Well,
Antonio Gates, don't play.
2 years in a row now?
Yeah, it's Mike McCoy's been getting the short end of the stick, and I don't think he is a bad head coach. It's just that he hasn't been able to close because he doesn't have the right weapons around him because they keep getting injured. And I don't think this is a GM fault, because I think that they put on a good product, but I just think that it's very bad to see all these injuries. And I think what you should really need is, fire the training staff, because what's in the water in San Diego that all of these guys keep going down. I think that if Mike McCoy gets fired by the Chargers, and I'll say this, if Mike McCoy gets fired by the Chargers after this year, the Bears should fire John Fox immediately and hire Mike McCoy. I think Mike McCoy can be a very good head coach in the NFL.
So he's going to go from one team that deals with injuries constantly to another team that deals with injuries constantly?
Well, Ricky.
I mean, come on. Just think about what you just said here.
Whatever.
The injuries are different in the NFC.
Whatever, Ricky.
I mean, but I look at it and you do have a point. You didn't think of that one through.
I think he's a very good head coach, and I think if he's on the market, I think the Bears should pick him up.
It's not one of these things where it's like, when I say he's a good head coach, I'm not saying like Mike McCoy is the best head coach in the league, but
how about this?
I don't think he's terrible. He's middle of the road when it comes to coaches.
I just don't think he's been able to prove himself because his team's been injured so much. And the first year, first year should be a fielder year, and he makes the playoffs.
And when we're talking about the injuries, we're only talking about mainly the last two.
The last two, yeah.
The last two. I mean, the 9-7 season, he was good, but the two big things that I think are going to lead to, like, my gut reaction is that he gets fired either mid-season, like during the season or at the end of the season is, one, if you continue to lose close games like they have, that don't look good, especially with the regression in record that we have seen, whether it's because of injury, not because of injury. Another thing is, I think this front office is going to look at, hey, we've got how many more years left with Phillip Rivers? We got to capitalize on it. Do we think this guy with Phillip, with this team, can get us to a Super Bowl? And I think if you see enough of those close losses, it's going to be a no, and they're going to make a change.
I think that the close losses is the biggest thing right now. I think that is the biggest thing that is hurting Mike McCoy. And I think the reason that he's losing so many close games is just because he doesn't have the right team around him. And this team's getting so injured.
This last one, Phillip Rivers, I'm going to harp on it.
Oh, it's brutal.
Phillip Rivers hits him in the face mask, and he can't catch the ball. Come on.
And that's not Mike McCoy's fault.
I could have caught that ball. I might not have been able to jump up that high to get it, but I could have caught it if I was in that situation.
We'll have to test that one out. We'll have Phillip Rivers, longtime friend of the show, come out here to Chicago. But yeah, I think that Mike McCoy can still be a very good head coach in the NFL, and I think that he might be fired just because they're like, well, they'll see the digression. The digression.
Eventually got that one out there.
Yeah, well, I didn't know if it was the right word or if I was making up a word, and if it's not a word, then I look like an idiot. But oh well. I just think that people will see the decline. There it is. In the Chargers, and then see their ability not to close out games, and then say, oh, it's Mike McCoy's fault. I don't think this is Mike McCoy's fault. In the first year, too, you make the playoffs, and usually in the first year for coaches, it's like a fielding out year. It's like, well, are you a good head coach? Can you deal with this team? And then in the second year, he just basically reflips the script and goes 9-7 again. And then obviously last year they dealt with so many injuries. I just think that it's not a thing where he needs more time in San Diego, because this is definitely grounds on getting someone fired. But I just think that if he gets fired and goes to somewhere else, he can really shine somewhere else. And I think it might not be the wrong idea for the Chargers to move on. I just think that they would be giving up a very good head coach.
It also does not help this team that the Broncos have shocked me and have looked really good, and the Oakland Raiders have looked really good.
And they're young.
Guess who their next two opponents are in Week 5 and Week 6? Oh, wait, that's at Oakland and home against Denver. So right now, if I were to look at both of those 4 divisional games that they got between those two teams, they'd easily be losses. I think that Oakland and Denver are miles ahead of the Chargers just based on closability and finishing games.
Closability, nice word there. I wonder what Chargers fans actually think, because I want to know what they actually think, because I mean this is outsiders looking in on the Chargers. I want to know what Chargers fans think if Mike McCoy should be fired or not.
And this is where you guys come in, Charger fans. Let us know down below if you haven't already. What do you think? What's kind of the pulse on Bolt Nation, the Charger Nation of? Do you want him going at the end of the year? Do you think he's getting a bad rap? What do you think? Let us know down below.